Hello, and welcome back to Homegrown Theater Camp. I'm your director, Mackenzie, and today in rehearsal, we will learn about the play that we're making, find where we fit in the script, and explore the play's themes and symbolism. This week, the show that we'll be putting on is Peter Pan. This version adapted by Ryan Furlong. This is the first of 4 video rehearsals where we can rehearse the play together. After you do the video rehearsals, you can perform the play at home for your families and share it with your friends on social media. You can download everything that you need to put on your show for free in the first link in the description. So, grab your script and your camp outline and let's begin. The story of Peter Pan is based on 2 works by author J.M. Barrie. The first, a play called Peter Pan, and the second, a novel called Peter and Wendy. Peter and Wendy was published in England in 1911. For a little bit more on the perspective on the time when Peter Pan was published, we go to Ryan, who adapted our script.
Oh, hello. My name is Ryan, and I want to share with you today a story. It's a story about a boy named Peter Pan. The story of Peter Pan was created and published in London by James Matthew Barrie, and it all began when he was telling stories, just like this one, to his children. It may be surprising, but Peter Pan's first appearance in a published book was actually not in Peter Pan, but instead in a book written by Barrie called The Little White Bird in 1902. It's surprising, but the play called Peter Pan and the book called Peter Pan and Wendy were both released in 1904 and 1911, respectively. Wow, 1911? That's over 100 years ago. That sure is a lot of time. And when a lot of time passes, a lot of things change. In the early 1900s, when Peter Pan was created, the way people saw the world and each other was, well, a lot different. And in England at the time, women were typically expected to fit very rigid gender roles. This is why in Peter Pan, Wendy is always thought of as being a mother figure, both to the Lost Boys and the pirates. And thankfully, despite the fact Wendy was so strongly shaped by the stereotypes of the time, she was still able to show her own personal strength in choosing her own future by the end of the story. Thank you.
All of our Homegrown Theater Camp adaptations are hyper-shortened and changed in other ways from the original stories. So, the original perspectives might not always come through. But those original stories, those novels and plays that our scripts are based on, can still be looked at for inspiration and to get a better idea of the perspective at the time, however flawed it may be. With that in mind, let's go inside and check out our version of Peter Pan. Homegrown Theater Camp presents Peter Pan, adapted by Ryan Furlong from the novel by J.M. Barrie. The play begins with Act 1, Scene 1, with Peter Pan outside of Wendy's window, hunting for his shadow that he lost there. In Act 1, Scene 2, Peter speaks with Wendy outside her window and invites her to come with him to Neverland. In Act 2, Scene 1, Wendy speaks to the audience about her experiences so far in Neverland at Peter and the Lost Boys camp. In Act 2, Scene 2, Peter comes to the camp and finds certain objects overturned and Wendy gone. Peter assumes that Wendy has been taken by the dastardly Captain Hook. In Act 3, Scene 1, Peter travels to Captain Hook's ship in search of Wendy. In Act 3, Scene 2, Peter arrives at Captain Hook's ship, and he finds Captain Hook and Smee and Wendy and the Lost Boys who have been taken prisoner by the Captain and Smee. Peter duels Captain Hook and ends up freeing Wendy and the Lost Boys. In Act 3, Scene 3, Wendy returns to the real world, and Peter says goodbye to her and then returns back to Neverland. The end. Before you fly off into Neverland, you need to figure out who's who. To decide on your casting, you can consult the script, which has a casting guide on the first page, and have a conversation with your fellow actors. If you're performing the one-person version, casting is simple. You'll be playing all the characters. Congratulations! Otherwise, just pick a character that you'll have fun with. Once you've decided who will be playing each part, you can begin your read-through. Read through the play out loud, taking notes along the way. Your notes can be over any ideas or questions you have throughout the script, and any ideas you have on how you'll perform the play. Once you're done with your read-through, you can talk about these ideas with your fellow actors. If there's any words that you don't understand that you find while you're reading the script, you can look them up and write them down on the page where they appear. In our analysis of The Sword and the Stone, we talked about character objectives and super objectives. Then, in Alice in Wonderland, we talked about given circumstances and the magic if. All of these concepts are still very necessary when thinking about Peter Pan. And you should definitely make a list of character objectives for your characters in this script too. But for our analysis this week, we're going to look at the play as a whole, rather than as individual characters, using themes and symbolism. Themes are a topic or a subject that are explored in a text or a piece of art. You often hear about a central theme or a main theme to a piece. Writers can consciously write about themes, or they can also be found later by the reader and not intentionally added by the writer. Themes are important both in dramatic analysis but also in general literary and artistic analysis. An example of a theme in Robin Hood could be morality versus legality, whether something that is illegal could still be the right thing to do. A more simple theme can be found in Alice in Wonderland. Curiosity. Alice is curious about this new fantastic world around her, just like many kids are curious about the world around them when they are Alice's age. As you can see, themes often are universal and make a sort of grand assumption or a grand observation about human experience as a whole. Playwrights and authors often exemplify themes using symbols. A symbol is an item or a character or a part of a play that represents a larger theme. For example, in Peter Pan, the crocodile that makes the clock ticking sound is often considered a symbol for mortality or aging, as he is always after Captain Hook. As you read the play, think about the themes that you find within it and any symbols that you find that could represent them. Knowing the themes and symbols in a play gives you the opportunity to give added significance to them during your performance. You can do this through your blocking, or tech elements, or through your performance itself. Next comes your independent rehearsal. Each day after our rehearsal video, you can take what you learned and put it into practice when working with the script. Your independent rehearsals after the video should take about an hour, so that you're sure that you're ready for your performance at the end of the week. You can pause and re-watch our videos to guide you through your rehearsal, and make sure to do all the activities listed in the camp outline. In the script, we've included a list of props and other tech elements that you'll need for your performance. You can start gathering and making these now, so that you don't have to rush after our Tech Day video. Now you're ready to decide your characters, do your read-through, and analyze Peter Pan with themes and symbolism in mind. After that, try acting the play out on your feet. You don't have to do all of it, just a few scenes, and see how it feels. Tomorrow, we'll really get moving. Until then, good luck and learn your lines. Thank you for watching Homegrown Theater Camp. You can subscribe to join the cast and download the script from our website. Homegrown Theater Camp is produced by Blixt Locally Grown, with support of the Nebraska Arts Council, the Nebraska Cultural Endowment, the Pearle Francis Finigan Foundation, Union Bank and Trust, and generous individual donors.